Hello and welcome everyone, this is Rufus Shinra from the Shinra Corporation without my cam today because I'm not recording from my usual place, but we'll try to make it work. So, DK Source contacted me and asked me to take a look at his account, see if I could give him any pointers eventually towards the takeover. So yeah, what I noticed after checking out the account is that he's fairly early to mid-game, let's say more towards early game than mid-game, and I would not go into doing a takeover at this stage of the game because obviously the account needs to be developed. There are plenty of areas that need to be worked on, so instead I would go over each one of these areas and try to give DK pointers as to how he can improve his account. And yeah, basically we can also keep following up with him in the Shinra Discord. There are plenty of people who are willing to help, me included of course. And yeah, so without further ado, let's jump into the account and see what we have to work with. So from the start, we're taking a look at a level 50 account, so I'm expecting not a lot of development in many areas. So starting with the Great Hall. Yeah, okay, so as expected, we're Silver 1. We barely started investing some points in accuracy here, which leads me again to conclude that the missions and that the challenges are not super developed either. From the looks of this win rate ratio, we have about 60%, so not a lot in either one or the other. But from what I've seen from screenshots, he does have some good champions, so that might be a helpful thing. So, regarding the missions, my first piece of advice, try to do the missions as often as you can until you hit a roadblock. So for instance, this is not a roadblock. So whenever the spirit keep opens, get your 25 lesser spirit potions, move on. One mission in the bank. Go until you hit an actual roadblock. For instance, if you can't farm stage 5 of the Dragon's Lair, do this. If you can't, then move on. And again, once you unlock a mission, some of the missions are retroactive, so you will gain the rewards from them, you will gain the progress from them, and slowly inch towards your Obita, which is a champion that you don't want to miss on, especially as it's basically a free reward, quote unquote. That's for the missions. The challenges, some of them can wait. For instance, this challenge here, upgrade the Spirit Champion to rank 6. I would not rush to do this because there are missions that require you to upgrade specific champions, like this one here for instance. You will have to do this again once you're doing the missions, so no rush unless you really find a very good champion that you want to invest in, but no rush. You can do this later once you reach it in the missions. For the others, well, it's nice to do the challenges. I wouldn't rush you in any way to do any of them, but it's nice to do them if you can. Some of them are pretty frustrating, like this one, very RNG, but hey, do it once, you forget about it, and then you move on. Now as for to the champions. Okay, so we have a nice starter block of champions here. We have a Sifi. I don't have one on my account, man, lucky you. You have your Kale built up, you have an Apothecary, War Maiden, but also a Tyrell, you have a Maneater, so plenty of strong options to work with for dungeon progression and even for arena. And you have some of the new Void epics, including Aniri Godseeker and Ursula the Mourner. So yeah, we have a decent roster. Not many options as far as AoE damage goes, if you're looking for nukers, for waves, or for arena. But we do have boosters, we do have great support. We can work with this, we can work. So to give you specific pointers, now we will go and check your progression in dungeons, which in my opinion would be the first thing to do. Then we'll go and check arena. Alright, so for your dungeons, I would assume that all your keeps are being farmed at the highest levels. If they're not, do it. You should do something about this because you're wasting energy if you're not farming 15, albeit a little bit of energy. Because I'm saying this about these keeps because they're relatively easier compared to other dungeons. So what about your Minotaur? You're at 15, that's a good thing. It means that you, depending on how much energy you have, you can basically build up scrolls for any champion you want to take to 60 and to get tier 6 masteries. Ice Golem is not really a pressing issue, although you've progressed fairly well, so you're halfway there. But Ice Golem is not a main dungeon for you. These are the two focuses, specifically starting with Dragon. So for Dragon, we're going to stage 18. Yeah, you need to push further. This is your Dragon team. The only odd one out here, more or less, would be her, I'd say, because you have a better option in Tyrell, although arguably this stage is forced, but again, you don't want to be farming this one. Eventually you will be farming stage 20. So Tyrell here can help. I hear also she's redundant with the Siphi, because you don't need her. Eventually you want to get Cold Heart once she's built properly, and this team can work. Basically this team can take you to 20. I'll help you farm 20 if you need to, but you need to build these two guys first. As far as I understood, they're not built yet. And so Dragon, very big priority. You need to focus on this. You need to push until you reach level 20. This will be a big account changer for you once you start farming that level 5 and level 6 materials. Fire Knight, again, not a big point of priority for you at this point. You might want to try and push, but not really, unless it's for a mission, for instance. This once you reach the corresponding mission, that's all what the game telling you that you should push a little bit on your Fire Knight. Spider, however, although you don't have a lot of options that will make it easier, I would recommend at least trying for it. So Siphi, always helpful in Spider. You don't have an AoE burn champion from what I've seen. I might have missed one, or I think you don't. So Siphi, Kale, and Cold Heart, of course. We talked about her earlier. Really good, pretty much against all bosses and some of the waves as well. And maybe we can slot in a couple of champions here. So the goal is not to find you a team here, but to, let's say, assess the viability of your roster all in all. So this could be a good core team. Maybe add in Tyrell, of course, that we talked about earlier. This is why Tyrell is such an important champion. Once you send him, you will get a Nora, then you can replace this guy, and Apothecary. So this team also, this is an option for your Spider farming, but you need to build these two guys as a priority. And Tyrell's aura is slightly better than this guy's aura in dungeons, so you want to ascend him also. This is for Spider, so Dragon and Spider should be your #1 priority, starting with Dragon, then Spider. But for now, let's take a look also at your gear, and then we'll take a look at your champions and give you some pointers as to how to build your arena team, because that's why you approached me to begin with. Alright, so coming back to the champions, let's check your Siphi. So I see that the Siphi is built in full speed gear. This is at least the right direction. 221 speed, you can get her much higher than that. I'm sure there you have better options as far as gear goes. Let's do a quick check. So do you have any better speed boots than these? I see that you have at least 2 pairs. The fact that the boot is common here and here it's uncommon means nothing, because what you're focusing on when it comes to boots, first, at your level, you need to focus on your main stat. And 5-star boots, 6-star boots, even if they're common, will be better than even legendary 2-star or 3-star or 4-star boots. The reason why? The reason is you have 5 speeds to gain by moving these boots to this one. So put these boots on her instead of the other ones until you get actual better boots, maybe rare or higher quality with speed as a main stat. So better boots. And if you did this, so try to focus on actually you have her on accuracy chests. No, she doesn't need any accuracy basically for her A1 to work. That's something also I'll touch on later. So let's check if you have any other gear that can make her faster. Maybe divine speed, perhaps. No, you don't have any divine speed, so let's check the speed. You have a faster weapon. You have a faster helmet unrolled, faster shield. Yeah, so at least you can change the whole top row of equipment and make her faster significantly. By how much? So you can make her faster by 4, potentially more here. Let's just roll this one real quick, see if it does anything. So the goal with your Siphi, she has very high base speed, she protects your whole team, and she can revive. So by making her the fastest in your team, or as fast as you can, it will give her a lot more utility throughout the fight. She will keep your team protected, topped up, and revived. There you go. You have a nice speed roll here. Immediately upgrading your speed. So this would be a move that I would do as soon as I can, basically. I don't know if you're keeping these pieces for something else, but that's what I recommend. Now onto her masteries. So this row here I'm pretty much okay with. There could always be some tweaks, but this row here doesn't work. The reason why, you chose Fearsome Presence, so what it does, it increases the chances of placing some of the most annoying debuffs in the game: Stun, Sleep, Freeze, Fear, True Fear, and Provoke from skills or artifacts by 5%. So here, I know that your Siphi is not fully booked, but if you take a look at the skill, or her A1, Curse of Longing, she has an 80% chance of placing Sleep. When it's booked up, it's a 100% chance. And it does not, and this debuff cannot be resisted, so it doesn't care about your accuracy, their resistance. It will always land the Sleep if their turn meter is equal or above to 50%. So you want to book this attack eventually. Once you have the books to spare, you want to book it. And for the masteries, once it's booked, this mastery will be wasted, because 5% on top of 100%, it will not add anything. And even now, you're missing out on masteries from the support tree, like Timely Intervention, which will boost her speed even more and make her even more usable in the team. So whenever a champion's turn meter drops by 20%, whenever an ally increases this champion's turn meter by 20% whenever an ally drops below 25% HP, meaning whenever your teammates are hit or die, she will get tons of boosts and she will be able to revive them quicker. So yeah, so for Siphi, try to change her a bit around. Do some research. There are tons of guides. I didn't make a guide on Siphi yet because I don't have her, but I'm sure you can find a lot of good resources over YouTube. Same thing goes for all your champions. I would definitely recommend doing your research a little bit before building them. Don't take one single person's opinion on it. Don't take one single site's opinion on it. Take 2, 3, 4 and make your own decision. That's what I would recommend. So this is for Siphi. Kayle would need a little bit more offense here because I'm seeing that he's an attack chest, crit rate. So you have the right idea, but as you farm Dragon at higher stages, you will be able to improve these. So as far as your arena team, at least, you could focus more on attack rather than speed, because if you follow the blueprint I'm going to give you, you will not need to have your Kayle in very fast gear. Instead, you can rely on double boosting, and it'll do the trick, and he will take a turn no matter what. Well, at least if it's tuned up properly. Alright, so as far as priorities, the rest, same thing that I said about Siphi, I'm saying about Apothecary. Good mix of masteries, pretty good for Clan Boss if you're using him there too, and in dungeons, so nothing to say about Apothecary. Just make him as fast as you can, because currently at 192 he's okay, but not to his full potential. So I'd recommend also the same thing I said about Siphi, I'm saying about Apothecary. War Maiden has served you well so far, but it's time to change her, switch her with Tyrell. You can also use, as far as your Clan Boss team or your core team for most dungeons, it will be these 4 guys. And you can introduce sometimes Coldheart, sometimes Lodric, sometimes this guy, so depending on which dungeons you're hitting, you can switch and move the pieces around. But these are your core team for pretty much all the content until you reach endgame. Then you will start choosing other options because you have other champions, but no need to look at them at the moment. So yeah, now, and the last thing before we conclude this short video is we'll take a look at your arena and see how you have your defense set up. And yeah, so let's go. So let's take up the defense. Oh god, so immediately I see here one big problem. So you're using the champions themselves. This is not a bad combination per se, but the order matters. So the first champion that you use here is the leader. The leader, as you know, has an aura which benefits his teammates or her teammates. So in this case, the aura skill is increases ally defense in dungeons by 21%. I don't know if it's a mistake, I don't know if you did it on purpose, you wanted to benefit from this aura, but either way, whenever you read dungeons or a specific area of the content here, it means that it will only work in dungeons. So it will not work in arena. Instead, I would do this, and here you would benefit from a resistance aura. It will make your champions much harder to debuff. And this aura increases ally resist in all battles, meaning it can work in arena, it works in dungeons, it works everywhere in the game. So this is basically how auras work. You just need to be careful when reading them. Sometimes you might just read them quickly. Anything that says all battles works everywhere. Anything that says dungeons or arena or Doom Tower, for instance, works only in those specific areas. Let's take an example here. I don't know if I can find a good one. Let's take her. This one, for instance, has a pretty big speed aura, but it doesn't work in arena. So even if you do this, you won't benefit from it. It works only in Doom Tower. This, however, on the other hand, is a good speed aura, but the champion is not that good. However, if you put her as lead, she would increase your speed in all battles by 16%. But now I would stick with your Siphi as leader for now until you get a better option. You could use her, I mean, but 10% is not much compared to what Siphi brings. So what I would do is I would work on their speeds. You can use the arena speed calculator. I'll link it here somewhere down below from the Deadwood Jedi's website. It can help you tune up your team basically so that based on their speed, whenever your fastest champion goes, fastest booster goes, all the others will go in succession uninterrupted. So of course if you go second, you might get the short end of the stick, but at least if you're faster than the opponent and you have a team that is tuned up properly, you will be able to go uninterrupted. So Siphi will boost, Apothecary will do a secondary boost. Here, instead of War Maiden, for now you can keep her, but I'd recommend using Tyrell. So Tyrell will debuff and then Kael will nuke. For Kael, if you want to use him in arena only, no need to focus on accuracy, but for clan boss and for all other areas, you want some at least. You want something close to 150 to 170 accuracy so that it can work for you in all areas. And once you reach dungeon level 20, you want 200 accuracy. The same goes for Tyrell. So here, as fast as possible, make sure that to tune his speed with hers, and the other ones make sure to tune them out. This is not a speed tuning tutorial, so not go through the details, but again you can check out the website linked below for Deadwood Jedi's speed calculator for arena, and yeah, I'm sure it will help you out a ton. So I'll leave the defense like this now, and assuming I think the offense should be pretty similar. Let's see if we can go against a team that is not super fast. This could work, hopefully, unless we get resisted, so let's see. Alright, so using her A2 will boost everyone, then Apothecary with the secondary turn meter boost. Now there's a problem, so Kael should go after War Maiden. If he goes first, it means that we won't benefit from the defense down first, so what I'll do is I will make sure to not use, and again, she doesn't seem to have a lot of accuracy, which is a shame. Now I'll try to use his A1 or her A1 to disable one of these guys. So who seems to be the biggest threat here? Thinking her, maybe, or her. Just sleep. Alright, let's heal up our Kael. Let's sleep someone else. This guy needs to go to sleep. And since we don't have any defense down everyone, so we'll just go for the nuke, which didn't do much. From here on, I'll throw it on auto. So here, first comment is again, after speed tuning your team, your War Maiden needs some accuracy at least, and she needs to be faster than Kael in this team in order for it to work. If he goes after her, you're not benefiting from the debuff. Alright, see, it's already doing better because we landed those debuffs, but again, we don't want to rely on pure chance to do it. Here, maybe I'll focus this girl, then her, and we should be okay after a few rounds, a few more rounds. Swift parry. Swift parry. Okay. Alright, so we did it. But again, there is a little bit of a speed tuning issue between these two, although nothing that can't be fixed with some tweaking. Alright, so as final thoughts, I would recommend to try first and make your Siphi the fastest you can make her. As we've seen, there are things that can be changing, both her masteries as well as her equipment. Work on your Tyrell, give him some love, he will carry you throughout the whole game. Lodric also is not to be slept on. He can be a very, very good fifth member of any team that you're using throughout the games. Manager can wait. These guys will be your core team. She will take a back seat, and Coldheart can start coming in against those boss fights every now and then. So this is as far as your team development goes. As far as gear, again, we said go through dungeons, try to push those last levels of the dragon. Once you do, your life will become much easier and the quality of gear will shoot up, specifically your speed gear, your accuracy gear, and your lifesteal gear, which are very much needed to progress through all the other dungeons. Spiral should be your next goal after dragon, and keep farming Minotaur, keep farming the keeps to the highest levels while progressing through your missions. Faction Wars might be a little bit too hard for you at this point, which I assume, yeah, you didn't push a lot through all the stages, it depends on your roster. But remember, if you can go to this level, for instance, you will be able to get some epic materials, epic crafting materials, which in turn you can use in the forge. And with those epic crafting materials, you can get really high quality gear compared to what you can get from the dungeons at your level now. And that gear again can be invested in your champions to make them better. So it's all a process. I understand that sometimes it can be frustrating, but you get the gist. We went through arena, we went through dungeons, I gave you a few pointers, and now I hope that you can follow this blueprint to improve your account. If you have questions, if you need more help, don't hesitate to come back to the Discord. Shinra Discord is there for that. There are plenty of other Discords. Do your research, ask me, ask the guys, we're there to help, and always glad to answer questions. Alright, so this concludes today's video. It is a little bit of an unusual piece of content for the channel. We don't do usually reviews for early to mid game accounts, but hey, anything we can do to help, we will do it. So what would you advise DK to do on his account actually if you were in my position? Did I miss out anything? Did I give any advice that you don't agree with? So feel free to leave that in the comment section below. Leave a subscription if you feel like it, a like maybe, or a gift in my stockings on next Christmas, whatever. So thank you very much again for watching. This was Rufus Shinra, and I will see you in my next upload. Cheers.